The real reason Necrozma was stripped of its power is a secret Nintendo has been hiding for years. This Pokémon's original design was considered too terrifying for children. I am revealing the banned lore that explains its true connection to Solgaleo and Lunala. You must stick until the end to see the concept art that changes its entire story. The dark reputation of Necrozma did not begin with its own intentions, but with the stories carried down from Ultramegalopolis and echoed by Alola's royal bloodline. To the people of that distant city, the creature was no less than a thief of radiance, the very reason their world lay under perpetual shadow. They tell of its light being stolen, of their desperate quest to reclaim what was lost. Yet that tale hides a painful truth. Necrozma never coveted light out of malice. Its hunger for brilliance was born from tragedy, not wickedness. Centuries before the events tied to sun and moon, Necrozma was revered as a cosmic wanderer of astonishing power, gliding through dimensions and scattering illumination across worlds swallowed in darkness. Its crystalline body could conjure boundless light, and from this radiance fell the first Z crystals. The shimmering aura that empowers totem Pokémon? That too is but a fragment of Necrozma's original glow. Its gift was so immense that even ultra space itself shimmered under its presence. Entire civilizations whispered its name in awe, hailing it as the Blinding One. That reverence lasted until its fateful visit to Ultramegalopolis. There, the creature's destiny twisted into suffering. Captured and shackled, Necrozma was reduced to a living lantern, its energy siphoned and its body cruelly dissected in search of its secrets. Greed poisoned the city's judgment. Through endless maltreatment, they ruptured its once perfect form, forcing its light to bleed uncontrollably. From that maltreatment emerged the broken figure known today as base Necrozma. Though in truth, it is nothing but a shadow of what it once was, a negative reflection of its former majesty. Its black, twisted frame is a grotesque reconstruction of the original godlike body. The head inverted into its torso, its tail grotesquely repurposed as its skull, limbs grafted backward, wings diminished to pitiful stubs. Every part of it screams deformation. Only the brain prism remained unchanged, the crystalline core housing its consciousness across all forms. Like the processor of a machine, this prism is Necrozma's eternal self. When dimmed, it reveals its agony. When filled with light, it blazes with the promise of rebirth. But light alone is not enough. To reignite fully, Necrozma requires more. The essence of Solgaleo or Lunala, guardians of sun and moon, vessels strong enough to contain the energy it once wielded effortlessly. This is why possession occurs, not out of cruelty, but out of desperation. Bound to its leaking body, Necrozma must hijack the forms of these celestial Pokémon to stabilize its prism and glimpse its true self again. The Z crystal known as Ultra Necrozma may also play a role, though its function seems tangled more in game mechanics than in lore. Regardless, even when Necrozma ascends into its dazzling Ultra form, the miracle is fleeting. The battle ends, the light drains, and the Blinding One collapses back into ruin. Driven mad with pain, Necrozma lashed out at Ultramegalopolis, seizing their light in a doomed attempt at restoration. Still bleeding energy, it fled through ultra wormholes, devouring radiance wherever it could. Alola became its next target. There, in its desperate hunger, it clashed with Solgaleo or Lunala and the trainer who stood beside them. A battle that scarred it further and scattered fragments of its power into the stones later known as Sparkling Stones. Its rampage was not born of hatred, but of survival. A god reduced to agony will claw at any chance to heal, even if healing destroys entire worlds. And so we face the question, can we call Necrozma evil? The Pokémon did not ask to be mutilated. It does not crave destruction for pleasure. Its war against the cosmos is nothing more than a wounded being trying to mend itself. Yet intent does not erase consequence. To strip a world of its light is to condemn its people. To override Solgaleo or Lunala's will is an act of violation. To unleash ultra beasts upon Alola is to invite chaos. Whether the motivation is pain or malice, the aftermath is suffering on a colossal scale. The Pokémon world is strange in this regard. It is a realm of extremes, where strangers gift you items freely, where ecosystems thrive under human care, yet where crime syndicates rise in every region and Pokémon capable of cursing souls for eternity exist without restraint. Gods are toppled by children. Benevolence and terror exist side by side. Within such a world, morality blurs and judgment falters. Video game logic twists it further. Kindness and catastrophe coexist because both are demanded by the structure of the story. But even through that lens, Necrozma cannot be excused. Its grief is real, its maltreatment undeniable. Yet no sorrow, however immense, can justify extinguishing entire civilizations. The Blinding One is not a demon by birth. It is a tragic deity shattered by greed, clawing desperately toward restoration. But tragedy does not absolve catastrophe. In Necrozma's tale, we find not a monster of pure evil, but a broken god whose suffering birthed devastation, dividing the hearts of Pokémon fans who still debate, victim or villain. When fans recall Necrozma's story, their interpretations usually split into two extremes. Some rush through the Alolan cutscenes and decide that Necrozma is nothing more than a destructive monster, a beast that devours light for no purpose other than malice. Others defend it as a tragic figure, arguing that every act of theft and possession was a desperate response to maltreatment, that the creature was wronged and should be pitted, not condemned. Yet both of these views flatten the truth. Necrozma does not exist as either saint or devil. Its story lives in the gray, stretched across a spectrum as complex and fractured as the very light it consumes. To deny its suffering would be dishonest. The cruelty of Ultramegalopolis left scars so deep that every action since has been born of pain. But to say that Necrozma carries no blame is equally disingenuous. Its anguish has multiplied, spilling into galaxies and cutting lives short. Entire planets have been smothered in shadow. Solgaleo and Lunala themselves, guardians of cosmic balance, were not spared. Necrozma's prism brain invades their bodies like a grotesque key sliding into a lock, seizing total control. The thought alone is chilling. Legendary beings robbed of their will, their minds possibly drowned beneath an alien consciousness. Do they still think? Do they scream silently while Necrozma pilots them like lifeless vessels? That violation adds another layer of horror to its legacy. Not as violent as extinguishing a world's light, perhaps, but disturbingly intimate, a forced erasure of autonomy. It is almost impossible not to see echoes of real-world struggles for bodily control hidden within this myth. And then comes the aftermath. After Necrozma's appearance in Alola, when it was finally driven back by the Tapus and the will of mortals, the royal family of old Alola ordered a purge. Every written account of Necrozma consigned to flames. Officially, it was to shield the people from panic. Yet the reasoning rings hollow. Wouldn't knowledge serve as protection, arming future generations against its return? History teaches survival, but the rulers chose silence. A cynical eye sees not protection, but manipulation. Control of information masquerading as safety. Like so many moments in human history, a bonfire of knowledge often hides more about power than it does about fear. Why erase the memory of a god beast unless the memory itself threatened authority? Even the official canon does little to settle Necrozma's nature. Director Kazumasa Ueo, in an interview tied to the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon National Pokédex, painted a picture that confuses the lore even further. He described Necrozma as bound eternally to Solgaleo and Lunala, incapable of producing light itself, but able to bend and control it, stealing from one celestial guardian and fleeing while the others pursued. According to him, this cycle existed even before Ultramegalopolis scarred the Blinding One. Yet he also claimed that after the maltreatment it endured, possession of Solgaleo or Lunala now surges with too much energy, throwing Necrozma into a frenzy and birthing Ultra Necrozma. That explanation almost suggests that the Ultra form is an unstable mutation, not the divine true self we thought it to be. But only moments later, the same interview implied the opposite, that Ultra Necrozma is indeed its true form, a state it should be able to achieve even without using Solgaleo or Lunala. A contradiction wrapped inside the same statement. So which is it? A mistranslation of Japanese text, where nuance was lost in the jump to English? Or was Ueo revealing his original concept for the story, one that shifted as development evolved? Perhaps both. Without the raw Japanese transcript, the truth remains out of reach. And yet this uncertainty itself becomes part of the myth. When even the director cannot present a consistent image of the Blinding One, how can the fandom ever settle the debate? This is why Necrozma remains one of the most misunderstood Pokémon in the franchise. A cosmic being framed as both savior and villain, maltreated god and ravenous destroyer. Its lore folds under the weight of contradictions. Sword and shield only deepen the wound, stripping it of its ability to achieve Ultra form altogether, leaving it stranded in incomplete echoes of itself. dawn wings, dusk mane, never the full radiance it once embodied. It is tragic, not just in story but in design. A creature meant to blaze as the brightest star, reduced again and again by narrative confusion and mechanical neglect. Perhaps one day, if a Legends game returns us to the shores of Alola, the tale of Necrozma will be retold in clarity. Perhaps then, the blinding one will finally escape its cage of half-truths, contradictions, and forgotten lore. Until that day, it remains a fractured myth, neither purely evil nor purely innocent, but a prism of ambiguity refracting endless interpretations. Do you believe Necrozma was a villain or a victim? Was it a monster of destruction or a god betrayed by cruelty? Which part of its story resonates most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's unravel its legacy together. And remember to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden myths of Pokémon lore.